Hello again, everybody. We're back, or another act, I'm sorry, of Romeo and Juliet. So today we are going to start Act 3. So, as a quick recap of what we've got so far, two households, the Montagues and the Capulets. They don't like each other. They hate each other so much that even their servants fight each other. The prince of the city of Verona, where they are, has finally gotten tired of it, says that the next time y'all start a fight, people are going to die. We meet Romeo, who is a Montague. He is at first in love with a girl named Rosaline, but he's tore up because she won't love him back. Benvolio says, I'm going to help you get your mind off of it. Benvolio is his cousin. We meet Juliet. Juliet is the daughter of the Capulets. One of the friends of her father, a man named Paris, has decided that he wants to marry Juliet. Juliet's father says, let's slow down. Let's wait 2 more years. Juliet's mother is kind of, let's push it forward. The Capulets have a party. Romeo and his friends crash the party. Romeo meets Juliet and they fall in love. They decide to get married. They talk, Romeo talks his friend Friar Lawrence into marrying them. Friar Lawrence believes that this is a terrible idea, but that he can bring the two households together. He can stop the feud by marrying Romeo and Juliet. So when we left off in the last scene, Romeo and Juliet were off to get married. So we're going to pick this back up. So on our timeline, the play started Sunday. Sunday morning is when the fight happened at the beginning. Sunday night is when Romeo and Juliet meet each other at the party. Early Monday morning, so like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, midnight, somewhere along there, is the balcony scene. The next morning, very early, Romeo talks to Friar Lawrence. So this is Monday morning. Monday at 9 o'clock, Romeo talks to the nurse. At noon, Juliet leaves to go to Friar Lawrence's. So we're at about Monday noon. Maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock is scene, Act 3, Scene 1 opens. So let's go ahead and jump into that. All right, so Act 3, Scene 1. Mercutio, Benvolio, and Mercutio's page, kind of his servant, enter into the scene. And Benvolio says, I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day's hot, the Capulets abroad, and if we meet, we shall not escape a brawl. For now, these hot days is the mad blood stirring. So Benvolio is basically saying, I'm begging you, Mercutio, let's get out of here. Let's call it a day. It's hot, the Capulets are out, and if we meet, we're not going to get out of a fight because these hot days have people getting hot-blooded. Mercutio says, Thou art like one of those fellows that, when he enters the confines of a tavern, claps me his sword upon the table and says, God send me no need of thee, and by the operation of the second cup, draws it on the drawer when indeed there is no need. So Mercutio's like, you're one of those guys that walks into a bar, you slam your sword on the table, and you go, I hope I don't have to use you. And then after you've had your second drink, you pull the sword on the bartender for no reason. So, of course, he's making fun of Benvolio. Benvolio is absolutely not like this. Benvolio is the peaceful one. Remember, the only time we've seen him draw his sword was to stop a fight, and he tried to get Tybalt to help him. So Benvolio says, Am I like such a fellow? He's like, Really? Is that what I'm like? Mercutio says, Come, come, thou art as hot a jack in thy mood as any in Italy, and as soon moved to be moody, and as soon moody to be moved. So he's like, oh, you're one of the worst guys, you're as angry as any other guy in Italy. If somebody does a small thing, you're going to get angry. And if you're in a mood to be angry, you're going to find something to get angry about. And what to? He goes, and what about? It's like, nay, and there were two such, we should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou, why, thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or a hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. What man but such an eye would spy out such a quarrel? Thy head is full of quarrels, as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. Thou hast quarreled with a man for coughing in the street, because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with a tailor for wearing a new doublet before Easter? With another for tying his new shoes with old ribbon? And yet thou wilt tutor me from quarreling. So again, he's making up all these different ridiculous reasons that Benvolio would have fought somebody. He's like, well, I'm glad there aren't two of you, because if there were two of you, we wouldn't have any, because one would kill the other. You'd fight with a man who had a more or less hair in his beard than you do. You'd fight with a guy who was cracking nuts only because you have hazel eyes. Let's see. Your head is full of quarrels, as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. It's like your head's as full of fighting as an egg is full of yolk, but your brains have also been scrambled because of all that quarreling, all that fighting. You fought a man for coughing in the street because he woke up your dog. You fought a guy for wearing his new clothes before Easter. You fought another guy for tying his new shoes with old shoelaces. And yet you're going to tell me not to fight? Of course, like I said, it's crap. Benvolio's not this guy. And I were so apt to quarrel as thou art, any man should buy the fee simple of my life an hour and a quarter. He's like, if I were as into fighting as you're saying I am, I couldn't do that because my life insurance would go so high. So Mercutio says, the fee simple, oh simple. He's like, your life insurance? He's like, oh, that's ridiculous. So in come Tybalt, Petruchio, and the Capulets. Petruchio, even though he's a named character here, he doesn't really get a speaking role. Main point is Tybalt and his boys come into the scene. And Benvolio sees them. By my head, here come the Capulets. He's like, basically, it's like, oh, God, here come the Capulets. Oh, great. Mercutio says, by my heel, I care not. So part of it's like, I don't care, but he's also playing on the Benvolio's like, on my head, here come the Capulets. He's like, the most important part of his body. And Mercutio's like, by my heel. He's like, I care so little about them. You're talking about your head. I'm talking about my heel. I care that little about them. Tybalt says, follow me close, for I will speak to them. So he's telling his boys, he's like, get up on me. I'm going to go talk to them. Gentlemen, get in. A word with one of you. And Mercutio says, and but one word with one of us? Couple it with something. Make it a word and a blow. So he's like, just one word with one of us? Why don't you put it together with something? Why don't you have a word and a punch? Tybalt says, you shall find me apt enough for that, sir, and you will give me occasion. He's like, oh, I'm ready enough to do that. Just give me a reason. Mercutio says, could you not take some occasion without giving? He's like, you can't find me? You can't find a reason without me giving you one? So Mercutio's egging him on. He's poking at him. Tybalt says, Mercutio, thou consortest with Romeo. So he's kind of saying like, you hang out with Romeo, but he's also kind of making a point of like, oh, you consort, you hang out with him. Maybe you're hanging out with him a little bit too closely. And Mercutio says, consort? What dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick. Here's that shall make you dance. Zounds, consort. So he's like, oh, we're hanging out, we're together. What are you making us like a band, like musicians, minstrels? He's like, and if you're making a band out of us, look to hear nothing but discords. Discord, of course, is like if music is in chords, discords is the opposite of that. It's noise. So Mercutio's saying, well, if we're musicians, then you're going to hear nothing but noise. And he points to his sword and goes, here's my fiddlestick. You know, the bow that you would play a fiddle or a violin with. He goes, here's my fiddlestick. Here's what's going to make you dance. Of course, there's about to be a fight. So Benvolio will talk here in public. We talk here in the public haunt of men. Either withdraw into some private place and reason coldly of your grievances, or else depart. Here all eyes gaze on us. So Benvolio's like, look, we got to get out of here. It's like everybody's looking. We're out in public. So let's either go somewhere private and talk this out, or let's get out of here. Everybody can see us. Mercutio says, men's eyes were made to look, and let them gaze. I'll not budge for no man's pleasure eye. So he's like, eyes were made to look, so let them look. I'm not moving to make anybody happy. Romeo comes in. So Romeo comes into the scene, and Tybalt goes, well, peace be with you, sir. Here comes my man. So he sees Romeo, and he's like, you know what? I'm done over here. I'm going to go talk to the guy I came here to talk with. And Mercutio says, but I'll be hanged, sir, if you wear your livery. Marry, go before the field. He'll be your follower. Your worship, in that sense, may you call him man. So he's like, oh, that's not your man. You walk out into a field and he'll chase you. In that sense, you can call him your man. Tybalt sees Romeo and he says, Romeo, the love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain. So he says, like, there's only one thing I can, like, as much as the amount of love I have for you, this is the nicest thing I can say to you. You're a villain. So he's like, I love you so little that the nicest thing I can say is to call you a jerk. And Romeo says, Tybalt, the reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a grief. Villain am I none, therefore farewell. I see thou knowest me not. So Romeo says, Tybalt, the reason that I have to love you lets me put aside the anger that I have over the way you just came up and confronted me. I'm not a villain. Therefore, goodbye. I can tell you don't know me. And of course, the reason that he has to love Tybalt, he really has no reason to before this, but now that's Juliet's cousin. He's now married into this family. So he's now feuding with his family. So he goes to leave. Romeo goes to leave. And Tybalt says, boy, this shall not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me. Therefore, turn and draw. So he's like, oh no, you're not talking your way out of this. That's not going to excuse what I feel that you've done to me. And of course, what Tybalt feels that Romeo has done to him, Romeo crashed his party. Romeo was at the Capulet party. So Tybalt believes that he was there to make fun of them. So he's like, you're not talking your way out of it. Turn and draw your sword. Romeo says, I do protest I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise till thou shalt know the reason of my love. And so, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as my own, be satisfied. So Romeo says, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to harm you. In fact, I love you more than you understand. And until you can know the reason why I love you, I have to go. He's like, so good Capulet, a name which I tender as dearly as my own. So a name that I love as much as my own. Please be satisfied with it. Now Mercutio is seeing this, and he doesn't know the story. At this point, only 4 people know that Romeo and Juliet are married. Romeo, Juliet, Friar Lawrence, and the nurse. So only 4 people. So Mercutio doesn't understand why Romeo's not taking on this challenge. He just thinks that Romeo's being a coward. So he says, oh, calm, dishonorable, vile submission. Alistocata carries it away, and he draws his sword. He's basically saying, like, this submission, backing down to Tybalt like this, is vile. It's dishonorable. And Alistocata, a thrust of the sword, he's like, all Tybalt has to do is stab him. Or all Romeo has to do is stab at Tybalt, and away goes the surrender. So he's kind of saying, if Romeo's not going to take us in, like, do this, I'm going to take methods in my own hands. So he draws his sword. Tybalt, you rat catcher, will you walk? So the rat catcher, remember a few scenes back, Tybalt's name is the same name as a fable, a fairy tale cat. So when he calls him Ratcatcher, he's making fun of that. He's kind of like, remember, essentially, pretend that the cat in this story is almost like a cartoon character. So when he says, Tybalt, you Ratcatcher, will you walk? He's like, where you going, SpongeBob? Don't you want to fight? Tybalt turns around and goes, what wouldst thou have with me? He's like, what do you want from me? Mercutio says, good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives. And what I mean to make bold withal, and as you shall use me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. So he's like, I want one of your 9 lives. And depending on how well you do after that, I might beat the other 8 out of you. Will you pluck your sword out of his pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears errantly out. So he's like, are you going to pull your sword out? You better hurry up, or mine's going to be up beside your ears before yours is even out. Tybalt pulls his sword out. I'm for you. So he's like, sure, let's go. Romeo's trying to stop him. General Mercutio, put that rapier up. Rapier's a type of sword. So he's like, please, put your sword away. Mercutio just brushes him off completely. Come, sir, you're passado. So he's like, come on, Tybalt, let's go. Let's see some of those fancy moves. Mercutio and Tybalt begin to fight. Romeo pulls his sword, and he's telling Benvolio, draw, Benvolio, beat down their weapons. Remember, this is almost exactly what Benvolio did the first time that we see him. So he's like, pull your sword and knock their swords down, beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, for shame, forbear this outrage. Tybalt, Mercutio, the prince expressly hath forbidden bandying in Verona's streets. Hold, Tybalt, good Mercutio. So he's like, stop, like, don't do this. The prince has forbidden fighting in the streets. Please stop. Romeo tries to break up the fight. He tries to get in between them. When he tries to get in between them, Tybalt stabs. And underneath Romeo's arm, the sword goes and stabs Mercutio. Petruchio, away, Tybalt! Like, Petruchio grabs him and is like, come on, let's get out of here. So Tybalt, Petruchio, and all the Capulet boys leave. And Mercutio's standing there. Mercutio's been stabbed. He says, I'm hurt. A plague of both your houses. I'm sped. Is he gone and hath nothing? So he's like, I'm hurt. He's like, you know what? Curse both your houses. A plague on both your houses. He's like, damn you both. I'm sped. I'm finished. Is he gone and hath nothing? Like he got away and got nothing? And Benvolio says, what, art thou hurt? He's like, oh, did you get hurt? Like, are you hurt? Mercutio says, hi, a scratch, a scratch. So Mercutio in this next little bit is playing, like, he's kind of being sarcastic. Benvolio, like, he's up there and he's like, I'm hurt. And Benvolio's like, oh, did you get hurt? He's like, yeah, no, a scratch, a scratch. He says, Mary, 'tis enough. He's like, it's a scratch, but it's enough. Where's my page? And he grabbed, the boy that was with him. And he's like, go, villain, fetch a surgeon. He's like, get out of here. Go get me a doctor. And Mercutio's page leaves. And Romeo says, courage, man. The hurt can't be much. He's like, hold on, man. Like the hurt, it can't hurt. You can't be hurt that bad. Because Romeo didn't see it. He was in between them. And Mercutio says, no, 'tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. I'm peppered, I warrant, for this world. A plague of both your houses. Zounds, a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat to scratch a man to death. A braggart, a rogue, a villain that fights by the book of arithmetic. So when Romeo's like, oh, the hurt can't be much, the wound can't be that bad, Mercutio's like, oh no, it's not as deep as a well or as wide as a church door, but it's enough, it'll do. Ask for me tomorrow and you'll find me a grave man. So grave, of course, in some ways meaning like if an atmosphere is grave, it's sad or somber. He's basically saying like, if you come looking for me tomorrow, you'll find me in the grave. And again, curse both your houses. And he says, I can't believe it. A cat scratched me to death. And then he looks at Romeo and he says, why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm. So it's like, why did you get in the way? I got hurt under your arm. And Romeo says, I thought all for the best. He's like, I thought this was the right thing to do. I was trying to stop you. Mercutio says, help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. He's like, help me into somebody's house, Benvolio, or I'm going to faint. A plague of both your houses. They've made worms meat of me. I have it, and soundly too. Your houses. Benvolio and Mercutio leave. So he's hollered at them like 3 or 4 times now. Curse both of your houses. Because Mercutio, even though he's Romeo's friend, Mercutio is not a Montague or a Capulet. Mercutio is actually a cousin of the prince. But this feud has now killed him. So Romeo says, this gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got his mortal hurt in my behalf. My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander. Tybalt that an hour hath been my kinsman. O sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in thy temper softened valor's steel. So he's like, this good man, the prince's relative, my good friend, got killed defending me from the stuff that Tybalt was trying to say about me. Tybalt, this man that only an hour has been my family. He says, oh, sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate. Your beauty's made me womanly. It's made me weak. And in my temper softened valor's steel. So he's like, oh, Juliet, loving you has made me weak and womanly. Benvolio comes back. Oh, Romeo, brave Mercutio is dead. That gallant spirit hath aspired the clouds, which too untimely here did scorn the earth. So Benvolio comes in to tell him Mercutio's dead. Romeo says, this day's black fate on more days doth depend. This but begins the woe, others must end. He's like, oh, the stuff that starts today is not going to end today. This has started something that is going to affect the future. Tybalt comes back. Here comes the furious Tybalt back again, says Benvolio. Romeo sees him, alive in triumph, and Mercutio slain. Away to heaven, respective lenity, and fire-eyed fury be my conduct now. Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again that late thou gavest me, for Mercutio's soul is but a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou or I or both must go with him. So he's like, he sees him and he's like, he's alive. He's come to gloat. And Mercutio's dead. You know what? Respective lenity, away to heaven. Mercy, consideration, go back to heaven where you came from. Fire-eyed fury, be my conduct now. Now it's time to let rage drive. He says, now, Tybalt, take the villain back again that late thou gave me. He's like, Tybalt, take your words back. Because Mercutio's soul is just a little bit above our heads, and he's waiting for yours to keep him company. Because either you or I or both of us go to heaven with him. Tybalt says, thou wretched boy, that didst consort him here shall with him hence. He's like, oh, you hung out with Mercutio here. You consorted with Mercutio here. You can do it with him in heaven. And Romeo says, this shall determine that. This fight's going to determine that. So they fight. And Tybalt dies. Romeo kills Tybalt. Benvolio's seeing what's happened. Romeo, away, be gone. The citizens are up and Tybalt slain. Stand not amazed. The prince will doom thee death if thou art taken. Hence, be gone, away. So he's like, Romeo, get out of here. The citizens are around, the people are around, and Tybalt's dead. Don't just stand there gawking. Don't just stand there shocked. The prince is going to give you the death penalty if you get arrested. Get out of here. And Romeo says, I am fortune's fool. And Benvolio's like, why dost thou stay? So Romeo's like, this is terrible luck. I'm the fool of fortune. The stars, fortune, fate is playing a trick on me. And Benvolio's like, get out of here. So Romeo leaves, and in come the citizens. Which way ran he that killed Mercutio? Tybalt, that murderer, which way ran he? So they're like, where's the man that killed Mercutio? Where'd he go? Tybalt killed him. Where did he go? And Benvolio says, there lies that Tybalt. So he kind of points to Tybalt's dead body and goes, there he is. The citizens are even like trying to get him. Like, up, sir, go with me. I charge thee in the prince's name. Obey. So they're trying to like arrest Tybalt. And of course, he's laying there dead. So in come the prince, Montague, Capulet, Lady Montague, Lady Capulet, and just a bunch of other people. So the prince and Romeo and Juliet's parents both come into the scene. And the prince, where are the vile beginners of this fray? Where's the men that started the fight? Benvolio says, O noble prince, I can discover all, the unlikely manage of this fatal brawl. There lies the man, slain by young Romeo, that slew thy kinsman, brave Mercutio. He's like, I can tell you everything about this fight. There's Tybalt. He's dead. Romeo killed him. But Romeo killed Tybalt because Tybalt killed Mercutio. Lady Capulet sees him. Tybalt, my cousin! Oh, my brother's child! Oh, prince! Oh, cousin! Husband! Oh, the blood is spilled of my dear kinsman! Prince as thou art too, for blood of ours, shed blood of Montague! Oh, cousin, cousin! So she's crying over the fact that her cousin's dead. And she tells the prince, she goes, they killed one of mine, kill one of theirs. And the prince asks Benvolio, who began this bloody fray? He's like, who started the fight? Tybalt here slain, who Romeo's hand did slay. So he's like, Tybalt started the fight before Romeo killed him. Romeo, that spoke him fair, bade him bethink how nice the quarrel was, and urged with all your high displeasure. All this uttered with gentle breath, calm look, knees humbly bowed. So he's like, Romeo tried to tell Tybalt to stop the fight. He even told him that how, like, you had forbidden it. And he said so with gentle breath, calm looks. He's like bowing down to him, telling him, like, trying to stop the fight. Could not take truce with the unruly spleen of Tybalt, deaf to peace, but that he tilts his with piercing steel at bold Mercutio's breast, who, all is hot, turns deadly point to point, and with a martial scorn in one hand beats cold death aside, and with the other sends it back to Tybalt, whose dexterity retorts it. Romeo, he cries aloud, hold, friends, friends part, and swifter than his tongue his agile arm beats down their fatal points, and twixt them rushes, underneath whose arm an envious thrust of Tybalt hit the life of stout Mercutio. And then Tybalt fled. So he's just telling him again what happened. Tybalt wouldn't take Romeo's answer and calm down. Mercutio was just as mad as Tybalt, so they started to fight. Romeo tried to calm them down, got in between them, twixt them rushes, and underneath whose arm an envious thrust from Tybalt hit the life of stout Mercutio. And underneath Romeo's arm, Tybalt stabbed Mercutio. Then Tybalt fled. Tybalt ran away. But by and by comes back to Romeo, who had but newly entertained revenge. And tooth they go like lightning, for ere I could draw to part them was stout Tybalt slain. And as he fell, did Romeo turn and fly. This is the truth, or let Benvolio die. So he's just finished the story. Tybalt comes back, sees Romeo, but by now Romeo's mad, who had but newly entertained revenge. So now Romeo's thinking revenge. And before I could get in there, they started to fight. Tybalt died. And he says, this is the truth, or let Benvolio die. This is the truth, I swear on my life. Lady Capulet says, he's a kinsman to the Montague. Affection makes him false. He speaks not true. Some 20 of them fought in this black strife, and all those 20 could not kill but one life. I beg for justice, which thou, prince, must give. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live. So she's like, oh, bull crap. He's a Montague, Benvolio. She goes, Benvolio's a Montague, and because of that, he's lying. You know what? There were 20 Montagues out here fighting, and all 20 could only kill one man. I beg for justice. I demand justice, which you, prince, must give. Romeo killed Tybalt, so Romeo must die. And the prince says, Romeo slew him. He slew Mercutio. What now the price of his dear blood doth owe? So he's like, Romeo killed Mercutio, or Tybalt. Tybalt killed Mercutio. So he's like, you're sitting here talking about how because Tybalt died, he needs to like be avenged. You know what? Mercutio's dead. Romeo killed Tybalt. Tybalt killed Mercutio. Who's going to pay for Mercutio's death? And Montague says, not Romeo, Prince. Romeo's dad says, not Romeo, Prince. He was Mercutio's friend. His fault concludes, but what the law should end, the life of Tybalt. So he's like, Romeo can't pay the price for Mercutio's death. He killed Tybalt. Since Tybalt killed Mercutio, all Romeo really did was what the law was going to do. You know, Tybalt killed Mercutio. Tybalt should have died for that, based on your words. That's all Romeo did. Romeo killed a killer. And the prince says, for that offense, immediately do we exile him hence. I have an interest in your heart's proceeding. My blood for your rude brawls doth lie a bleeding. But I'll immerse you with so strong a fine that you shall all repent the loss of mine. I will be deaf to pleading and excuses, nor tears nor prayers shall purchase out abuses, therefore use none. Let Romeo hence in haste, else when he is found, that hour is his last. Bear hence this body and attend our will. Mercy but murders, pardoning those that kill. So, since Montague has made a good point, Tybalt committed murder. Tybalt broke the prince's law. Therefore, based on what the prince said, the next ones of you fight, I'm putting to death. Tybalt should be put to death. So Montague says that that's what Romeo did. Romeo put him to death. And the prince says, basically, you know what? I understand that. So I'm not going to kill Romeo. However, I'm going to exile him. I'm going to kick him out of Verona. And he tells them, he goes, now I'm involved in your fight. Mercutio was my relative. And because of your fight, now he's dead. And I'm going to punish you so harshly that you're going to understand the loss that I feel. So I'm not going to listen to your pleading. I'm not going to listen to your excuses or your tears or your prayers. None of that's going to do any good. That's when he says, I'll be deaf to pleading and excuses, nor tears nor prayers shall purchase out abuses, therefore use none. So he's like, don't even come crying to me, because now I'm not listening to it. Let Romeo hence in haste. Tell Romeo to get out of here quickly. Else, when he's found, that hour is his last. Tell Romeo to get out of town, because the next time I see him, he's dead. Bear hence this body and attend our will. Mercy but murders, pardoning those that kill. He's like, I can't pardon. Romeo killed somebody, and I can't pardon him. I can't say that, oh, well, you're not guilty anymore. Because when that happens, all we've done is cause murders. So he's like, I'm not going to kill him, but he's not getting off of this. He has to go away. And if he doesn't go away, then he's dead. And everybody leaves. So that's going to take us out of scene 1. Romeo and Juliet are married, but now, less than an hour, or a little bit more than an hour after Romeo has married Juliet, he's now killed her cousin and been kicked out of town. By the time that we're done with this play, 6 people will die. We've killed 2 of them. So we know 2 more. So we know, we said in the very beginning, Romeo and Juliet are dying by the end of this. Now we've killed Mercutio and Tybalt. So we got 2 more. So with that, let's go to your assignment, which is right here. So summarize what happens in the scene. Tell me, why did Romeo not want to fight Tybalt? Give me one adjective to describe everybody in this scene. Adjectives, of course, describe people. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. Who says it? Is it a metaphor, a simile, or a pun? And explain what that means. What is Romeo's punishment? Is it fair? And explain why. Imagine you're directing the play. Give me some information that, like, say you're making this play into a movie. How are you going to do it? And then pick one of the two characters and write their obituary. So that's our scene here. All right. That will be our scene, this one here. My next video will be scene 2 and possibly 3. Then we'll have scene 4 and scene 5 in the next video. So we're going to have 3 or 4 videos in this act. I can't remember exactly what I've got. But that's what we've got. Y'all have a great day. If you need me or need any help, kdalton@gilesk12.net. I'm also going to do a Zoom meeting. I'm going to try to do that every Thursday. So please, contact me. I'm going to put the meeting and password and stuff up on Classroom, so y'all be part of that. If you need any help with this, just let me know. Everybody stay safe. Have a great day.